You must have played Snake Game, but you definitely haven't played the real-life version of it. What would happen if he entered the real world? A woman placed her phone on a step and a snake emerged from it. It cautiously surveyed this new environment when suddenly an energy ball appeared in front of him, so the snake used its talent to start searching for food everywhere. From the initial energy ball to humans several times larger than itself, then motorcycles, small cars, buses, armored tanks, passenger planes. As time passed, his body gradually became giantized. He started commuting back and forth between buildings, living life to the fullest. But at that moment, a ball probe appeared near the phone. The red snake clearly felt the hostilities. Sure enough, a moment later, the other party, in this way, the gluttonous snake also turned into countless data balls and scattered everywhere. The next morning, a young man riding his bike dropped a phone on the road. A moment later, another gluttonous snake emerged from the phone. He was also visiting this unfamiliar world for the first time, filled with curiosity about everything around him. From some small items to motorcycles, from motorcycle to long-distance buses. From buses to excavators. After eating them all, he still felt empty inside. So, he set his sights on even bigger aircraft. His body size kept increasing until he himself believed it was out of place in this world. Even humans threatened and rejected him, warning him not to stay in the city. In the end, he relied on being a glutton to survive. Watch this bright world from afar, probably apologizing for its actions. But what can be done? Gluttony is his instinct after all. One day, a strange creature caught the attention of the gluttonous snake. As if there was some kind of magic drawing it in, the gluttonous snake decisively followed the other, not knowing where they were going, but I felt a new adventure was about to begin. Many years later, people could easily control the gluttonous snake. These 4 ultimate gluttonous snake players brought their little treasures and were ready for a grand battle. We broke the silence first, a white gluttonous snake slowly emerging from an insulator cup. At that moment, the worker next to him looked unimpressed because his gluttonous snake was more robust. It seems like the outcome is already certain. However, this camouflaged guy is even more arrogant, summoning his warrior directly from his pistol. As for the final fat guy, he's simply too conceited. His is actually a huge one-eyed snake. In contrast, although Away's pet might be the least impressive, he still exudes confidence. So, an unprecedented battle of snakes officially begins. The little white snake is on the weaker side, though small in body size, it's very agile. While other waxworms are secretly developing, the little white snake initiated its attack first. Directly locking onto the one-eyed snake as its target, it used its speed advantage. With a clever dodge, it managed to take down the one-eyed snake, leaving the fat guy dumbfounded. Then, through nourishment supplies, the little white snake quickly grew into a big white snake. Victory often comes suddenly, and in the next competition. The great white snake had completely taken control of the situation and suddenly launched a surprise attack. The worker Xiao also lost his chance to compete and immediately absorb the nutrients, but set up traps instead. At this moment, the camouflaged Xiao Ku was anxious as he ordered the last green snake on the field to go eat the nutrients, but ultimately, it became the food for the white snake. As the white snake continuously grew larger, its appetite no longer satisfied itself with ground supplies. In the end, it targeted these 3 young men. A sudden turn sent them directly into the white snake's mouth, but it didn't harm Away. Fortunately, this is an evil yet conscientious gluttonous snake. After turning away from its owner, it turned towards the city, but it was too late. In this city, a huge gluttonous snake was greedily absorbing nutrients. He grew larger and larger through this eating method, even a train would turn into food as soon as it hit him. As if everything in the world had become his toy. But he didn't stop there. The current version of Snake has bigger ambitions. It crossed mountains and seas, destroyed the Sydney Opera House, then ran along the coastline all the way to Las Vegas. It's like a giant bulldozer, planning a global gourmet tour down the highway. However, its every move is being watched by a mysterious person. Cities are continuously suffering from destruction, he can't just stand by. So he immediately rushed out of the base. In the snowy mountain range, the young man pressed a button, and in the next moment, a stronger pink snake emerged from the bottom of the snow mountain. There was said to be a great snake. It's called Snake Eater. It is pink all over and hundreds of meters long. There's a legend that Snake Eater devoured an elephant and took 3 years to spit out the bones. The saying, "Heart not satisfied, snake eats elephants," refers to Snake Eater, and in this Snake Eater's descendant, a mysterious young man controls it. He is about to set off, but faces the newly born white Snake Eater in this world. At the same time, the white Snake Eater is rampant in the city. People are extremely afraid of this giant creature, fearing they might be struck dead if they don't dodge in time. Only the white snake, once its owner, dares to get close, hoping to bring back the white snake's conscience. But instead of having any effect, the entire city is filled with the presence of the white snake. Next, he even ran to Egypt, where humans launched missiles to try to stop him. However, anything that comes into contact with the foraging snake becomes food. As if everything in this world has become his toy. On the other side, Emperor Shao, to speed up, controls the viewing snake and takes a water route. Finally, they arrive at the desert before dark. Next, they plan to rest in place to prepare for tomorrow's battle. The next day, the white snake swam from Egypt to Tokyo, Japan. The two gluttonous snakes finally met at the foot of Mount Fuji. But as the saying goes, one mountain cannot hold two tigers unless there is a male and a female. As expected, no great battle took place. These two gluttonous snakes actually fell in love with each other. At this moment, humans also seized the opportunity and launched another missile. As the explosion's shockwaves spread, it seemed like celebrating their meeting. When everything was calm again, these two gluttonous snakes were unharmed. And thus, they lived happily ever after. However, on the other side, everything that happened was seen by the Queen of the Deep Sea. She walked out of her palace and 照出了一条巨大的水蛇. It seems like the story is far from over. There will be no victory without a fight. Which side will survive in the end?